So first for us, we got leg extensions, okay? Now, the leg extension, piece for your gym is gonna look a little bit different, right? Like, we're lucky enough that we have Prime here at Kingdom, so it allows us a little bit of a different approach. But for most people, and this is what we're gonna focus on for this particular exercise, it's just gonna be a pin-loaded machine, and you're not gonna have all these extra settings on the side. So we're gonna focus on what this would typically do for us here, all right? So with that being said, we have a couple things that are gonna be unanimous for every machine. First and foremost, we have the input pad, right? Every machine has an input pad. The one thing we want to think about here is getting as close to the joint as possible, right? So most people are going to manipulate that based on where they feel kind of comfortable, where they feel, uncomfortable potentially. But essentially, we want this input pad up as high as possible to get closer to this axis to load more tension into the muscle that we're trying to train here, all right? Some of these might have adjustments on the side, right? And that's one of those ones where you just want to make sure at the starting point, because essentially what this will adjust is where this input pad starts. If we pull it out, it's going to start right here. If we push it in, it's going to push her legs back a little bit further, right? And we just want to be in a position where we're going to get full knee extension, right? Which is essentially the primary function of this piece of equipment. We're trying to get through knee extension, right? Loading the muscle in the shortened position. And I think this is an important point that I probably should have led with. This is one of the few exercises we have that's really hard to imitates, right? It's hard to find another piece of equipment that's going to be like this, right? In terms of where it loads most predominantly, right? When we lift up, this is going to load in a shortened position, the muscle shortened position here. There's no other piece of equipment that's going to do that for us. If you think about this like a squat, when we're loading with the squat, the hardest point is at the bottom, right? And we're loading in the lengthened position, right? But when we stand up and we have full knee extension, our joints are all stacked, right? There's no real load going through the quads at this point on a squat, right? That weight's going straight down, our joints are all stacked, there's no real load going through that quad, right? But again, in this position, because we're seated, go ahead, lift up. We're in a position where, again, that's gonna load predominantly right there. Again, we wouldn't get that through anything else, right, that we're gonna be able to do in the gym here. Some things to consider here: input pad, the starting point of where this input pad goes, we want full knee extension, and then from there, this is basically as simple as it gets. Full knee extension, full flexion, right? Some people we're gonna see are gonna come up to a point where they're gonna load that so heavy that they're only coming up there. We wanna take advantage of that full knee extension there, all right? And then when this is getting hard and you're starting to struggle, what you're gonna see is that butt is gonna be popping up out of the seat a little bit. We really wanna make sure that we're gripped hard onto these handles and we're locking our butt in that seat. So it's just specifically knee flexion, knee extension. And the way that I like to think about it is I'm utilizing this pad, I'm leveraging off of that pad to just, again, generate a lot of stability within the seat, and then just thinking about knee flexion and knee extension. Knee flexion and knee extension. And again, I'm bracing off of that pad, so to speak, using it as leverage. Anything else that I can think of here?
Maybe the back pad going?
Back pad, good point. This is actually one that everybody will miss. Chris, if you want to come to the side here, we want to make sure that our knees are in line with this axis of rotation. So what we would do there is make sure that we manipulate the seats and how far back she's sitting. Hop up for a second. So essentially pull that back one, maybe one more, maybe one more.
Blah.
Now if we come back around, we could see that knee is in line with that axis of rotation. Right here, they actually label it axis of rotation. There's gonna be something on any piece of equipment that you use that'll be a big knob that's kind of, in some cases too, discolored. Sometimes it'll be red, sometimes it'll be blue. In this case, it's actually labeled axis of rotation, but you want your knees primarily in line with that, okay? But that's about it, leg extensions.